Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Danny and I am a certified physician assistant. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. All of you, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does give me motivation to produce more content for you guys. So this video is going to be a little bit different than my other ones. It's going to be a Q&A. But before we get into all the juicy questions that you guys have asked me on Instagram, I am going to give a little bit of an intro about myself because there's literally 50,000 of you guys and I haven't done that yet. So without further ado, I was born and raised in South Florida. I am Cuban Italian and I am one of 3 children. This may come as a shock to some of you guys, but I was literally homeschooled my entire life from kindergarten to college. At the age of 14, I began dual enrollment at FAU, so I was able to complete college and high school classes at the same time. That is what allowed me to graduate college in 3 years instead of 4.
So at age 14, she began taking dual enrollment classes here at FAU. When it came time for college, Daniela selected the FAU Harriet Wilkes Honors College because she knew the challenging curriculum and research opportunities available at our Jupiter campus would help her reach her scholastic goals. In addition to her course load, Daniela worked as a medical assistant, volunteered as a peer mentor for FAU's Academy for Community Inclusion, and spent a summer studying abroad in Barcelona. She also engaged in undergraduate research with our partners at Scripps Research Institute, and she did all that in just 3 years. Today, Danielle receives her bachelor's degree in biology, magna cum laude. Later this month, she will begin the Master's in Physician Assistant Studies program at Nova Southeastern University. Congratulations.
But as you can hopefully tell, homeschooling went well for me. I was very involved in a bunch of extracurriculars at that time because I knew I wanted to become a doctor at an early age. So I was volunteering in the hospitals, I was shadowing doctors, I was going on medical mission trips, but also I was heavily involved in sports. I was doing flag football, tennis, soccer, and I was actually the captain of my tennis and soccer team for a few years. But when it came time to applying to college, I sacrificed my ambitions to play sports because I didn't think it was quite possible to maintain a high GPA while being a student athlete. So I attended the Harriet Wilkes Honors College, which is basically a branch off of FAU, and I graduated with a BS in biology. So I literally tried to do as many extracurricular activities as I possibly could, but I didn't even know what a PA was until my junior year when someone said they were going to become a PA. So being in your junior year, not wanting to take a gap year, I was like, holy crap, I need to get some patient care experience. So that's when I became a uncertified medical assistant at an electrophysiologist's office. And I applied a few months after that with not many patient care hours. I probably applied to about 15 plus schools. I got interview invites to about 8 of them.
Got my book here. It's my first time reading it, so I will let you know the outcome.
Once I got accepted into NSU, I basically canceled everything because I got into my top choice.
So guys, I just got my first PA acceptance.
A lot of you guys wanted to know my stats, so I will pop them on the screen really quick for you. You can use this as a reference point, but I don't really think you should compare yourself. But in general, if you want some more detailed advice about how to get into PA school, go ahead and check this video out. All that advice I listed there still stands. On another note, I do offer pre-PA services available on my website at dannythepa.com. So if you're needing help, go ahead and check it out. It's all one-on-one. Okay, so enough about me. Let's get into the juicy questions that you guys asked me on my Instagram. So how hard is PA school? And what is harder, didactic or clinical year? PA school is very difficult. Quite honestly, it was probably the most challenging time of my life. The description of drinking from a fire hose. So imagine trying to retain so much information in a limited amount of time. It becomes very tough. So what's harder, didactic or clinical year? I think didactic year is more difficult in terms of academics because you are in a classroom all day and then you have to come home and study some more. So it It seems very repetitive, but the good news is it's short-lived. Most PA programs have a didactic year of about 1.5 years, so you can definitely get through it. Where on the other hand, clinical year is much more intimidating, but the academics are, in my opinion, much easier. You only have exams about every 6 weeks, where in didactic year, you can have like 5 exams in 1 week. Imagine you are getting a job. You are getting to know the new staff, you're getting to know your new boss, you're getting to know the workflow, and as soon as you get comfortable in that environment, you have to move on to the new rotation. So it's like always being the new guy, and it's tough, it's uncomfortable, you're worried about first impressions. So I would say clinical year is more intimidating, but didactic year is tougher.
So before I leave, I wanted to show you what's in my bag for my first day of rotation.
On a good note, I want to say about 50% of my graduating class actually graduated with honors, which is about a 3.6, maybe 3.7 GPA. So it's difficult, but it is definitely doable. Did I fail any exams? I did fail a few exams during my first semester of PA school. I was dealing with something very personal. Unfortunately, my sister, who I was very close with, died the week before PA school started. So as you can imagine, very difficult. I did definitely immerse myself fully into the studies to kind of distract from what was actually going on. But yeah, so that brings me to my most famous question. How did you study for a didactic year? In general, most students, I believe, studied on their own, but in a group setting so that you could kind of motivate each other to study longer. I recommend to take very good and detailed notes during lecture. That way you can really highlight and focus on what the teacher emphasizes in class, because that's probably what you're gonna be tested on. The biggest thing is you want to understand the general concept of the content you're learning. Once you understand the big picture, then you can focus on worrying about memorizing the details. So understand the general concept, then focus on memorizing the details. Once you have that done, that's when you're gonna need to test yourself. If you don't test yourself before you get in the exam, you are going to be doomed. I use Quizlet, Anki, Rosh Review, whatever it is, you must test yourself on the information. If you are attending a PA school that doesn't have professors who are teaching information great and you feel like the PowerPoints aren't great, I do recommend a resource called Lecturio. I recently discovered it and it's been useful for me as a graduate PA to refresh on some topics such as radiology, clinical medicine, but this resource Lecturio is good for PA students, medical students, nursing students, and it covers some very important medical courses that are tough in PA school, including immunology, pathology, physiology, pharmacology, anatomy, and it also has concept pages, sample questions, and cheat sheets. So if you are struggling with how to learn the content and test yourself, I do recommend Lecturio. I will put the information in the description box for you. Now, tips for clinical year students. My biggest piece of advice for clinical year students is to get involved. Something that I wish I had done in my clinical year was a thorough head-to-toe exam. So if time allows in your rotation, I would recommend doing not a focus exam, but a thorough head-to-toe. Look in every single ear, look in every single throat, palpate those lymph nodes, listen to the heart and lungs, so you can really get a feel for what the normals are, so that you can easily recognize the abnormal physical exams when you are a graduate and practicing PA. You want to expose yourself to as much as you can. After performing a thorough physical, I would recommend having a differential and treatment already prepared, even if you get it completely wrong. Use the resource Up to Date, Hippocrates, EMRA antibiotic guide, so you can even get it down to the dosing. Doing these tips, I think you will feel as prepared as you possibly can as a practicing PA. Did you feel ready to start seeing patients on your own? My answer, and probably many people's answers, are no. So before I started working in the urgent care, I was freaking out. I was super nervous. I'm honestly like very nervous just because I don't know what to expect. I'm about to go inside. Wish me luck. Which I believe is super normal. PA school is short, but it does prepare you well. But I will say, if you go into an office where you don't have a lot of oversights, you will probably feel very overwhelmed as a new grad PA. I think the urgent care is a great place to start as a new grad because a lot of the complaints are not very acute, or they would be in the emergency room. And if you have a clinic where you have a supervising doc or someone who has experience on site with you, you can just bring them in for any complaints that you're concerned about. My experience experience as an urgent care PA as a new grad was very good. I had the help and the oversight I needed for a smooth transition. So today was not bad at all. I just got out of my first shift ever as a PA. I almost felt like I was still a student, except this time I'm getting paid. It probably took me about 1 month to actually feel comfortable seeing patients on my own. A lot of urgent cares are short-staffed, so they need the help. So I feel like it was pretty easy to land an urgent care job as a new grad PA. On the other hand, the aesthetics market is completely different. It's honestly oversaturated with injectors, and patients as well as companies want experienced injectors who can provide great results. I do recommend completing a course and getting your certifications, as well as having a social media presence does help you become more competitive as a newbie in this field. So a common question, is the job market saturated as a PA? I think there is a clear answer here of a definite no. If you are having your mind opened about what specialty you want and kind of like what city you want to work in, there is so many job opportunities as a PA, even as a new grad PA. On the other hand, if you are trying to get a specific specialty in a specific city, yes, the job market can be more difficult that way. But in general, I feel like I've had so much opportunity in different specialties as a PA, and it is very exciting, and you can truly see the lateral mobility even as a new grad PA. So was it worth it to become a PA? Was it worth the length of schooling, the debt, the emotional trauma? I'm gonna have to say yes. The reason being is I see that there's a lot of opportunity for growth, a lot of opportunity to learn new skills, and it is very fulfilling. You feel happy when you help patients and you listen to them and you show compassion and empathy, and when they give you a compliment or they want to see you again and you get requested, it's a very good feeling. I really do think being a PA is a great career, and I would recommend it. Now, what is the worst thing about being a PA? And I think that's probably the healthcare system in America. I run into a lot of issues of patients not having insurance, them not being able to afford testing or treatment, and it really is saddening. But I don't think this is limited to the PA career. It's definitely spread across all the professions in medicine. It's kind of a vicious cycle. You see a lot of healthcare workers who are jaded, and it's easy to kind of catch yourself in that same mindset because you're overworked, you're maybe underappreciated, short-staffed. So I think that's our biggest issue. So what's it like being a PA? You are seeing patients on your own, you're treating them on your own. You are in a very collaborative relationship with the physician. Whenever you have questions, they are usually great at answering them. It can be overwhelming at times, but your experience being a PA will be completely dependent on the specialty, setting, the office, your coworkers, your boss. I have worked in 2 different urgent cares at this point, and the experience between the both of them, although similar, is very different. How much do you make as a PA? So obviously you guys know this depends on the state you practice, the specialty you practice, the years of experience, your negotiation skills. So there's a lot that goes into pay. I will walk you through my urgent care salary increase over the last year and 3 months. So I started off at 50 an hour, I bumped up to 53, I bumped up to 60 an hour, and I bumped up to 65 an hour, which, you know, may or may not be good in some of your opinions, but that's what I make. And I do have PTO, CME reimbursement, healthcare insurance. So yeah, that's my trend. And lastly, content creation. How did I get into content creation? My content creation experience began in my clinical year. I started just by documenting my experience in PA school, spreading the word about the PA profession, just because I thought it was interesting and fun. I tried to make it entertaining but also informative, because I remember when I was a pre-PA, a lot of vlogging style content was either medical students or nursing students, so I was trying to fill that gap. Obviously now that has changed. There's a lot more content creators on the market just in general. I bought a camera. I'm still using my camera from day one. I use a Canon EOS M50. I use a Rode mic. I use a plain old tripod. I use iMovie to edit my YouTube videos. I use Splice to edit my TikToks and my Instagram reels. I use Canva to edit my thumbnails. I use TubeBuddy to find good SEO words for my titles on YouTube. And I just post because I do find it fun and entertaining. Since becoming a content creator, I have noticed that you can make a lot of money with brand deals and creating content. So it is cool to make some money with this passion of mine. On a regular basis, I make probably $300, maybe $400 on a good month with YouTube, and then I make money from brand deals. And yeah, that's about all I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Over and out.